Hello. Make it brighter. Hello, everybody. Good morning, people. One more thing. I just had to come back in. You know I wasn't going anywhere. I had to come back because this is very important, people. It's important. Okay? We're going to be talking about adults who act like little kids. They really do. They be acting like little kids. It's crazy. You probably thinking, yeah, you deal with it. Maybe you wanted a little kid. Maybe you wanted them to act like that. You don't even know. Shoot. Look at me. The other day, I went crazy for a little 35-cent bag. I want my free bag. I want my bag. Okay. All right. What's good, everybody? Hi, people. I need y'all locked in with me right now. No scrolling. This is a purse, by the way. I'm a full-grown adult. This is a purse. Okay? Yes. Or the lions. Whatever you call it. All right? I need y'all locked in with me, people. No scrolling, no distractions. All right? Just a real conversation, people. Real conversation, because today we're not just talking about a date on the calendar. All right? We did that already. We're going to be talking about adults who act like children. I know you know a few people like that. Just acting so childish out here. Not acting their age. Good morning, people. What's up, everybody? What's up, people? You drinking your coffee? Adults acting like children. How many people know people like that? I know a lot of people like that. They're really annoying. And I try to stay away from people like that because it's like, I'm not trying to be your parent. I don't want to be someone's parent. No. Not at all. I do not want to be anybody's parent, all right? Look, let me say this clearly so nobody misunderstands me today. Let me move back. Let me make it clear. So I want you to understand, right? A lot of people are not living adult lives. You think nobody know, or maybe you just don't know. They ask you a few questions and they realize you're not living an adult life. Okay? They are just older with bills, but they still act like a little kid. How many people know, how many people then met some chick? It's like, man, it looks like you got all together. You get to know her and realize she's just living like a little child. She's not living like an adult. She's not being responsible about anything. There's a reason why, okay? These people will be like this. I know that it sounds harsh, whatever, but stay with me, people. We're going to talk about something everybody sees, but nobody wants to admit it. The gossiping, the jealousy, the emotional reactions, the petty arguments, the silent competition, the I don't like her, so nobody else can energy. It's childish, all right? Yeah, that stuff. Because somewhere along the way, people started acting like it was normal. Okay? But people grow up, all right? But that doesn't mean that they mature. And today we're calling it out. Not to insult anybody. You know, you're giving it your best shot. You know, working with what you got. You know, not everybody's as mature or as intelligent as the next person. And that's okay. But we're going to expose a pattern. Okay? Because nobody talks about it. It just keeps repeating over and over again. I want you to think about something. How many times have you seen grown adults lose friendships over misunderstandings that could have been solved in one conversation? How many times have you seen people with responsibilities act like middle school is still happening in their daily life? Maybe they want to meet you at 3:00. You know, like, how old are you? You know, you're outside 3:00. You waiting for a school bus, but you're also waiting to fight. Somebody got the Vaseline? Somebody got the oil? Anybody got the phone? Nobody's making any money. Y'all just look wild. You know, hence the chicken with its head off. Poor chicken head. Okay, I'm just joking. But it's really like that. Like, how old are you? Supposed to be, you think like you won't have to deal with bullies as an adult, but you will. It's like, y'all still out here? Y'all still ragging on people? Talking about people? Y'all still pointing out what people wear every day? Because I wake up early in the morning and I see beaches in the same thing. And I don't say anything. At all. You know? Act like you're in middle school. And here's where we have to talk about the uncomfortable truth. Most adult drama is about the situation, all right? It's not about emotional control or lack of it, okay, people? It's not about that. People act like it's about this or that. It's deeper than you think stuff. It's not. You know, 10 years from now, you won't even remember what you were arguing about. So why the hell are you arguing about it today? Maybe you need to take a beat, take a walk. You know, that's what adults do. They walk away. Space, time, opportunity. That's what space, time, and opportunity means. Not, I got time today. That's not what it means. It don't mean you go and you like, I got time today. No, space, time, opportunity. You have the space to move around. You have the time to do something else. And you have an opportunity to make better decisions. Okay? Let me say this for the camera, all right? Maturity is not age, okay? It's emotional behavior under pressure. Now, you'll see a young person might get into a tussle with an older person, but that doesn't mean the older person is wiser. There's some nasty, bitter, childish old people out there. And it's like, they survived. So now they're at the point where nobody ain't going to do nothing to them. But then again, you know, immaturity meets immaturity, and sometimes things clash. You know, people have to start being more mature. All right, people? Because, and write that down too. Maturity is not age. It's emotional behavior under pressure. So when you're under pressure, all right, remember your emotional state under pressure. Because sometimes under pressure, man, we might just blow. Like, stop it, I can't take it no more. Like the ding dog making all that noise. You might just be like, you know what? But with emotional maturity, it's like, maybe this too shall pass. I might have to let this go. You know, we have to choose wisely what we dispute and debate, because I don't argue. You know, adults don't argue. Yelling doesn't do anything. You should be having a debate. That means I say something, you say something. You talk 2 minutes, I'm talking 2 minutes. You talk 5, I got 5. Get your point across, okay? That's debating. That's having a conversation. That's how things change. Having a debate, a discussion. But yelling and screaming, nobody can hear you anymore. Like, what the hell? And who would want to hear all that? You need to take a beat and go take a walk. Like, it's about maturity. Okay? Because there are people in their 40s out here acting like little teenagers. You are not a little girl to be sitting there pointing at people, talking about people, making jokes about people, and rolling your eyes or talking side talk. And you know the side talk, like, yeah, I do this and that. If anybody bother me, you waiting for somebody to say who you talking to. For what? You look like a little girl, and you look like a little boy picking fights with a grown adult. You look like a little boy doing that. You gotta start acting your age, okay? Not your shoe size. And it's that real because it says something about your brain. It says that you're not that bright because you're always looking to fight. You're not that bright. You're slow. Okay? Just a little bit slow. And we're not going to bother people who have different health conditions or their intelligence is on this level or that level. It's all right. Hi there from a distance. Hi. Okay? But you don't have the intelligence. You know, you get all riled up. You like to fight all the time. Okay? You steal. You do things like you're a toddler, like you could get away with it. You're gonna end up in the Hudson River with that energy. You gotta learn to be good people, okay? And learn to be an adult. And that's why people need to act their age, because you know, here today, going tomorrow, and we gotta start making sure we're doing the right things and we're doing right by people. I like walking down the street knowing that I never did nobody dirty. I don't have to look behind my back. I don't have to wear shiesty. I don't have to put my hoodie over my head and cover my eyes or my face or wear a face mask or anything like that. I'm not looking over my shoulder to the left or the right. If I want, I could probably just kick back in the park and close my eyes for a second and just listen to the birds chirping, because I ain't never did nothing to nobody. But people like that, they do stuff and they're so arrogant, they think nobody can see them. But the whole world is looking at you, sweetie. The whole world is watching you act like a child. The whole world is watching you get all riled up, young man, or with a woman, seeing you over there like, yeah, I'm going to fight a woman. Or, yeah, I'm going to start an argument, fight this old, elderly, homeless person. Are you okay? We're all looking at you. And even if you're validated by the people around you, doesn't make it right. You might actually be wrong. Okay? People tend to follow a crowd, and I'm not a follower, but I'm going to tell you what happens is people do not have any maturity, and people who are immature, they will challenge everyone. And if you listen closely, beyond the cursing, beyond the screaming, they're really yelling, "You're not my mom!" And no, I'm not your mom, and that's not your dad. So whatever you're going through, go through it in a corner somewhere. And I'm telling people right now, you might feel like, oh, they're going to learn a lesson today. I'm going to teach them a lesson today. How about they don't get no lesson? How about the lesson they get be so dramatic that they just don't do that stuff no more? You know, because I'm at the point where I see people acting like little kids, and I'm like, you know what? This could be a teaching moment. But are they really willing to learn? Because they might say the duty of the civilized is to teach the uncivilized, but sometimes uncivilized folk can be animalistic, dark demons, and you must leave them where they stand with their shovel digging deep into the dirt. I'm trying to stand on this dirt. You know, I know what this is. I know where we are. A lot of people don't know where we are right now. A lot of people don't know what this is right now, where we stand. Where we stand in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, Queens. It's history behind all of this. It took a lot for you to just get here and have a stank attitude with the person beside you. There was a time when you was like, you would have been happy to see me. You would have been happy to see me. There was a time you would have been happy to see me because there was only one other person like me besides you. Okay? You would have been happy. You know, there's been times I was living in California, I was happy to see people that's like me. Like, whoa, pull over. Pull over right here on the highway. We got to stop for a minute and chop it up. So what you doing? Where you going? You know? Where you going? You going to eat here, there? Oh, you got family over here? Can we meet them? That's like, I'll get all excited. Like I'll get all excited, when you meet somebody that you can relate to. And we're supposed to be relating to each other as people. We are. We're all human or whatever. But if you can relate to them on another level, like culture or religion or something like that, that's even more better. But nobody wants to match dark demon energy. People who get aggressive and argue about little things all day long, after a while, it gets a little repetitive, and we start to wonder, why don't you just take that in the house? Say that to your man, or say that to your girl. But a lot of people, they rather go outside and do that. And it's to address the anger that they have in the house. They're going to address it outside the house. Like, they'll be mad with their wife or whatever, and they'll go outside and they'll go fight somebody. And then come back home and treat her like a princess. But deep down, he wanted to He wanted to knock that princess out with the TKO. But he didn't. Maybe he just gave her one black eye and he went outside and beat somebody else up. Yeah, people are like that. Charity begins at home, people. If you're going to do anything, man, shoot, you better take yourself home and do that. And don't worry, the cops will be on the way. Immaturity leads a lot of people ended up in jail. Okay? They be like, you caught me on camera stealing? Yeah, I caught you on camera stealing. And it was the 5th time. I've been trying to give you a break. When you going to stop? People don't know they have breaks until you put them on the spotlight. Then they like, oh, that was a break? Yeah, that was a break. What else do you want? Like, come on. Right, let me break this down properly, all right? There are 3 main reasons adults act emotionally immature. Unhealed emotional patterns. They never learn how to process frustration while reacting. I told you guys about that, about how people have trauma that happened to them as a child that they bring to the forefront as adults. So when you hear somebody screaming and yelling, and you think you're talking to an adult, no, you're talking to the child. They used to talk like that as a child. Okay? The child in them that was heard. That's why they're screaming. All right? Then we have the attention addiction, attention seekers. They always want to be the center of attention, main character energy. Okay? Drama feels like a connection when real connection is missing. Those are the reality TV superstar personalities. Like, every day is drama. There ain't no drama. They're going to find some drama to get into. And then it's the environment normalization. Depending on your environment, okay? If everyone around you gossips, it feels normal. So now you have adults repeating behavior they never outgrew. Not because they're bad people, but because nobody taught them any better. And it just became the norm. Somebody asks you a question, you give them an answer. Somebody wants to know somebody's business, you provide the information of somebody's business. Now, what happens is people use that information to retaliate on people or something like that, or they use that information to their advantage to create conflict and make people think things are going on that aren't, because they like to gossip, right? But let's be real, we've all seen this before. 2 adults stop speaking over something small, like she liked my post but I didn't like hers or whatever. So complicated. It hurt my feelings. We both was on the same trip. Why you didn't like my pic and I liked you? Or she didn't invite me, but I invited her everywhere. Well, maybe you so much more organized, and other people, everything is last minute. Maybe you're not the sea filler. Maybe they just make plans same day. Like, they ain't even think of it. Like, it's just random, drop of a hat. Everybody can't be like you. Or here's another one. She be talking about me. She was talking all about me. So I'm going to talk about her too. Beach. She's a beach. She this. I got all business. See, that's why I don't tell nobody my business. You tell somebody your business, they go outside and they got to tell 50 people. And 50 people got to tell 100 more people. Now, everybody in your business, and everywhere you go, people going to have an attitude with you based off of information they got from a third party and be looking at you stank and talking about you like they know you. Ain't nobody never speak to you ever a day in your life. That's what they do. They like that. That 227, oh, hey, Pearl, sitting on the, oh, I know some juicy gossip, but you didn't hear from me, ass beach. That one chick that sits in the window. You ever see that one lady? She just sit there in the window. She know every damn thing going on in the neighborhood. That's a snake. They sit there. They damn near Wendy Williams. They the ones sitting there gossiping, spreading all the rumors. And everybody believed them because obviously they saw it all. They was there. They always there. You could see in the movie, when they shot the movie, who was there? The beach was right there. Like, I got some juicy gossip, but you ain't hear from me. Yeah, that's that one. Just gossiping. And men do it too. And then they do these things at work. Gossiping, spreading rumors. You might like to shop, so you be coming to work with one of them little trolley carts with the little string in it. They be like, yeah, I heard she sleep inside the cart. Bro, I went to the store. I saw her. She just be buying little trinkets and Tupperware. I call her because I go to the same store. I spend my same hour inside the mall buying little trinkets and Tupperware, so I saw her in there. But y'all said, oh, she homeless and going back and forth to work and going to sleep on the subway and she got nowhere to live. Did y'all ever go talk to that woman? She has a whole husband and she lived down the street. But they wouldn't know that because they're sitting there creating this whole storyline where the lady is homeless but coming to work and she has to bring her suitcase with her to work. No, she's multitasking. This is a housewife. You lucky she came to work. She didn't have to go to work. But they didn't know that because it was like you don't communicate with people, so you have your own ideas of what people are. So they just be talking about people. Not because it was serious, but because ego got involved. They felt intimidated. When people feel intimidated, they have a whole storyline for you. They want to just ruin your life. And they can't wait to get into a tussle with you so they can scratch your face. Because deep down, they just want your face. Okay? When they want your hair, they just love your hair. They want to rip your hair out. Okay? So beware. I just stand back because I already know what it is. And I know what I got. And I don't need anything else. All right? And let me say something that it might sting just a little bit. A lot of adult conflict is just uncomfortable feelings wearing adult clothing. That's it. Nothing deep. Nothing strategic or anything like that. Just emotions with a calendar age attached to it. Now we have to talk about gossip too, okay? And I already told you about the gossip, but let's go deep into it because it's not a conversation. Gossip is emotional outsourcing. It's when someone can't confront a situation directly, so they recruit other people into their emotional problems. And let's be clear, people. If someone always has updates about everyone else, but no progress in their own life, that's not awareness. That's distraction. They want to be distracted. If you always have time to analyze everyone else's life, you are avoiding your own life. So, that's what you're doing. Okay? And let's go deep into this drama. Drama. Drama gives people something they are missing. Excitement, attention, emotional stimulation, sense of importance, even if it's negative. I've seen people get into a fight and after they fought, they was like, ooh, they turned to the person they fought. They was like, thank you. I needed that. They needed it. They needed to let it go. Okay? So what happens then? People unconsciously create this chaos just to feel something happening. And that's why some environments never get peaceful. After one fight is another, it becomes contagious feeling. And people start getting riled up and get excited about it. Next you know, they start screaming, world star, all right? They want to post it on the internet. They want to go on live. They want to take videos. They got to start deleting videos of the fights because they want to be prepared for the next fight. Oh, we're going to have another fight every day. We're going to have a fight every day. Oh, it's wonderful. Why don't you go watch HBO or a UFC match or something like that? Nobody in the world really goes out, puts on their best clothes to get into a tussle. But people who are jealous and envious will always be ready. They will always got time today. Okay? So what happens? They unconsciously create chaos just to feel something happening. Sometimes they don't even plan it. They be like, we're going to have a good day. We're going to have a peaceful day. And as soon as one thing happens, be like, oh, no, you didn't. And all of a sudden, it's all hell going to break loose. Okay? And that's why some environments, they just stay like that. People just be like, you know what? I'm just walk away. Because it's not just one person. It's a whole bunch of people. And y'all all acting like animals. And you like, dang, what's wrong with us? Y'all all act like animals. Y'all all act like animals. How you don't see that? You don't see that you act like an ape? You don't see that you walk around goofy, silly, dope, talking about people? You so lost in the sauce. Some people so lost in the sauce. They be talking so loud as if nobody can hear them. Or if you want me to hear you, then why the hell you never say it to my face? Let me let you know something. Words bounce off walls, but they always will break through. That's why when you sit in your house, you can hear the couple arguing down the street. It don't, I mean, you think like you close the door and nobody can hear you. Like them little kids, they tell the kids, look, I'm going to leave the room for 5 minutes. You can say whatever you want to say. No judgment. I'll be right back. Then they leave the room. They leave. And the kids, they're like, what I'm going to do? You think so? Nobody heard it? Everybody heard it. Like, it's weird. And then even talking about people, find something else to do. Why are you talking about people? Are they celebrities to you? Well, if they are, go follow them, like and share, and subscribe. I'm just being real, people. I don't understand it. You know, it's about being mature. Okay? And I want to say directly, okay? If your environment requires constant drama to feel alive, that environment is not community. It is emotional noise. They have no community. They're all separate. That's why a lot of areas, they don't even have block parties. Their block parties are on the sidewalk because they do not have community. They think they have community. They think they're building something, but no one is building anything. It's all just darkness. An illusion and fake friendships and fake, just a whole fake lifestyle, okay? Because let's talk about what's important. Boundaries, okay? Because most adult childish behavior survives due to weak boundaries. People don't say no. We got to start saying no. All right? I'm not engaging in that. People don't say, this is not my energy. Instead, they participate, then regret it later. So why don't we just say no in advance? Don't chance it. You know, why take the chance? You're going to trap yourself in a situation, you know, that only the devil can thrive in. You're going to be wondering, how the hell did I get here? All right? So don't fall for it, all right, people? And listen, boundaries are not rude. They are emotional protection. Somebody says, hey, you want to go here or there? You already know whenever they go out, they always argue, complain, and scream. Total Karen energy in a restaurant. Just say no. You do not need to explain yourself. You're not a child. Okay? Take it or leave it. The answer is no. Why? None of your business. And you want to be kind? Be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were sharing each other's personal business here, but I don't do that. I don't do that. But I'll be back. You don't have to let people know when you'll be back either. You know? 48 laws of power, people. Don't volunteer information. Okay? Now let's add modern life into this, all right? Social media. Social media made everything worse in one way. It turned everyone's emotional reaction into a performance. So now, instead of resolving issues privately, people post subtweets, okay? They make indirect comments, they go live angry, and they involve the audience. And suddenly a private issue becomes public entertainment. Might even get flagged. Might even lose your account, screaming and yelling. But here's the truth nobody says. Most of it wouldn't even survive a calm face-to-face conversation. You can't even have a face-to-face conversation. Think about it. If people had to resolve everything without posting, without texting, without indirect messaging, a lot of conflict would disappear in 10 minutes. Because most of it is not real conflict. It's emotional expression without any discipline at all. Let's get to the hard truth, people. And I have to make sure y'all listening in the back. Being real is not the same as being reactive. That don't make you real because you reactive. What? That don't make you real. Okay? Some people think if I speak without thinking, I'm being honest. No, you're not being honest. Okay? That's not honesty. That's emotional impulsivity. Okay? Let me tell you what real adults be doing. Real adults. What we do? Real adults' behavior is pausing before reacting. Real adults are addressing issues, okay? Directly, okay? We're not involving outsiders. Don't need no second opinions. This is not a sample. It's real life. And we're not escalating small problems. You ever call somebody to solve a situation, they just make it worse? Yeah, we don't do that. That's being mature, okay? It doesn't mean you don't feel things. Yeah, we feel stuff. It means you don't let feelings control your outcomes. Maturity is choosing peace over proving a point. Because I don't have to be right. Maybe you're right in your role and I'm right in my role. I don't care. You got it. Cool. All right? You win. You know, I want to end this section, all right? I want to end this with something real. Everybody wants respect. Everybody wants respect. Not just you. Everybody wants respect. But not everybody gives respectful behavior. Everybody wants loyalty. But not everybody is consistent. And everybody wants peace. But not everybody stops feeding chaos. So the question is this. What are you contributing to this environment that you complain about? Because at some point, we all have to stop watching the drama, okay? And start removing ourselves from it. And I'm not done with this conversation, people. Because next time, we're going to talk about how to deal with toxic people without becoming toxic yourself, how to exit drama without explaining yourself, and how to build emotional discipline in real time, like that. But before that, I want you to sit with this, because not every fight deserves your voice. Not every rumor deserves your reaction. And not every person deserves access to your emotional energy. You have to protect it. They would love for someone to match it, but we're not. Because once you learn that, your whole life will change. Okay? So have a wonderful day, people. Have a good morning. And remember, we are mature people out here. And the duty of the civilized might be to teach the uncivilized, but you can't teach what doesn't want to be taught. And we're nobody's parent. And this isn't a classroom. Like, are we getting paid to teach people lessons? You know, a lot of people, they miss all that discipline when they were young. Don't be the one to give it to them. Let somebody else give it to them. It's going to be so wild. They're going to be too shocked to respond. All right? And ladies and gentlemen, catch yourself when you're out there picking on people that's not bothering you. People that's at peace, just smiling. And there you are. aggressively, angry. Think about how you make people feel and stop being that little bully that used to be in school. Because maybe in school, they might have disciplined you with, a little slap on the wrist or a ruler, or maybe you got suspended for 3 days. But you could end up spending 3 months in jail messing with the wrong people, okay? So let's all act our age, not our shoe size. It's a real thing. Because we don't need somebody telling us when to eat, when to sleep, and what to wear. Because that can happen to you anytime, okay? Say bye to my bear. Bye bye. Later, guys.